Demonic.
All right. Hey there, everybody. My name is mikewave. Welcome to Thief. I'm joined by my awesome couch here. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Captain Ezekiel. I'm a speedrunner.
Yeah, my name is mikewave, and yeah, I am also a speedrunner who has not ran this game before.
That's fine. They're going to do great on commentary anyway. All right. Time is going to start here once we do our very first input. But to give you guys a rundown on the story, this is a remake of the original Thief. It's a little bit different than the original, so I will be trying to go over the differences as much as I can. But yeah, we're going to get started here if tech is ready for countdown. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. So this was a reboot slash remake slash like 100 years later, different timeline thing, kind of like Zelda, of the original Thief, which was a immersive sim and kind of birthed that entire genre, you know, with like System Shock 2, Deus Ex, and a lot of other games taking a lot of inspiration from it. This was a remake by Square Enix that came out in 2014. That's kind of why it's called like Thief 2014 or Thief 4. It just kind of depends on whichever one you want to use. This one is a little bit more of a linear, more stealth-focused game than the games that came out before it. So it's going to look very different from a lot of the other Thief runs. This is going to be our first lock-picking mini-game. These are going to be pretty common throughout the entire thing. This level is actually going to be pretty unique. So this is the prologue where we are kind of introduced to a lot of the game mechanics, including the different arrows that you can utilize in the game. Like this is going to be a rope arrow, which we can use to make a rope that we can climb. We're also going to be running into another character named Erin, who is very important to the plot. She is kind of like a Garrett's apprentice, kind of, not exactly, but that's kind of the relationship that they fulfill. She's a little hot-headed, little, you know, not as disciplined as Garrett, which is going to cause some problems later on. But this is essentially acting as the tutorial for the game, teaching us all the very basic mechanics. And one of the aspects about this is, even though we are on the easiest difficulty, we are not allowed to actually be spotted here. So this is one of the only levels in the game where we are like required to stay stealthy the entire time. You're also going to notice Erin is talking here. This game actually is not using the same voice actor for Garrett as it did for the previous games, who is Stephen Russell, who did a great job. They got a new voice actor, and there was such a lot of feedback from the community that they did not like this choice. So they straight up turned on an option where you can just turn off his voice, and that saves about like a minute during the run. So normally Garrett talks during the game, and because we have to turn off the voice, you're not going to be hearing him talk very much. But the game didn't really prepare for that, so a lot of times Erin is kind of saying some weird things, and it doesn't really make sense without Garrett to be able to respond to her. But this first little area is a good example of what are called swoops. Essentially, this game has something called contextual jumping. So to actually jump in this game, you need to have it say that you can jump on like the right side. Otherwise, Garrett will do kind of a little swoop forward, which uses his stamina, and we can use this to kind of get to ledges and other things just a little bit faster. Also, get used to animations like this. This game was actually looks really, really good for the time it came out, but it is a PS3 game. So there's a lot of like fake loads that it tries to hide behind, so you see that animation a lot. But there we go, that's the first map. We're heading into the second part of the tutorial. This one is kind of explaining some of the other mechanics, but we do have a couple of skips here that we can utilize. We also don't have all of our tools just yet, so we don't have what's the most important thing, which is the claw. Erin is going to be holding on to that for a little while. You're also going to see me collect a couple of objects in this game. There's like a lot of shiny cups and jewelry that you can pick up. Outside of this level, the prologue and the Chapter 1 tutorial, we aren't going to be really picking these up. We do need money in this route. However, we only go to the merchant basically 2 times. And the first time is going to be pretty early on, which is why we need to pick up all this stuff, is to buy stuff there. And then the second time is later on in the run, and we kind of have a lot of money from bonuses in the level, so we don't really need to worry about making up for any lost funds. We're also going to do a little skip here. This is supposed to be a tutorial teaching you how to sneak and stuff like that. However, we're just going to completely go around that entirely, which causes this like weird black screen to hang. So now would be a good time for a donation.
Very good. We have $25 from Schmitty, who says, good luck to all runners. And hey, Demonic, I think you're a runner too. So good luck, my friend.
Right, got time for one more.
All right. I have a $50 donation from Gashmutz who says, please do the things fast, but safely.
My family used to be charcoal burners.
Will do. So we get a little unskippable cutscene here. There's only a couple in the game that you can't skip for whatever reason. I don't know why. It might have something to do with where it places Garrett after the cutscene or something like that. But this is a tutorial on how to like do take sounds and stuff like that. And then we're gonna skip a cutscene coming up here where Aaron gets chastised for needlessly killing that guy, and this is going to cause a bunch of conflict and other stuff that the speedrun kind of glosses over. But essentially the story for this game is we're here to steal something, and we interrupt kind of a ritual that goes wrong with something that's called the Primal Stone. Aaron is assumed dead, and Garrett actually ends up in a coma for a year. But we are going to be holding on to that bottle the entire time, so don't you worry. But yeah, so the entire game is basically figuring out what happened in that year's time and what's going on in the city that we are currently in, which is, I think, just called the city. I don't think there's actually a real name for it.
It's my girl, sir.
So we're heading up here. This is going to be the end of the tutorial, and we'll be heading into chapter 1. There are 8 chapters, and then there is a couple of times in between those chapters that we will be doing stuff as well.
Let's just get the
Once
job
we seal
done.
this claw, that will be the first level basically done. So yeah, there's an entire cutscene here. Aaron falls through a window and lands on a weird-looking primal stone. If you ever played the very first like Wolfenstein remake, where everything that was like supernatural was blue, the primal stone will be pretty familiar in terms of its color scheme. But we're heading into chapter 1, so depending on your playstyle, you'll get opportunities for different bonuses. So if you're playing very aggressive and knocking out guards and stuff, you might get the Predator bonus, where if you kill a certain amount of guards, you get a gold bonus. We're going to be doing something for that. So we actually are going to be stealthing through this level in the attempts to get the ghost bonus, which is going to be very important for the run. Basically, that's going to allow us to get the gold that we need in order to get a early tool that we need to pick up. So we are not going to want to get spotted by anything here. Even the birds, if they spot us, we'll have to load a save. Head over this way. So yeah, this is going to be a level where we're actually going to be stealthing and making sure that we don't get spotted by any guards. Thankfully, if we do get spotted, it's not too big of a deal. We can utilize a save, and because this game has amazing autosaves, by the way. If you do a manual save, it does a manual save for it, it does an autosave for it, and it does a chapter save. I really wish every game had a save system like this because it's so good.
I'm guessing that makes it easy to practice as well, right?
Oh yeah, and there's like unlimited saves too, so you have like total freedom to have practice saves. It's great. So we're gonna be sneaking around here. Gonna knock this guy out because we don't really have a choice. Otherwise, he kind of just gets in our way. He'll be fine though. And then we're gonna see our first example of a animation storage. So after we pick this this like little case here, we are actually kind of on a timer. We need to get to a certain spot before that guard gets alerted.
Someone makes a noise.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna touch a closet and we're gonna pull out a bottle. And then we're gonna try to throw the bottle at the same time that we interact with it. And then we're gonna climb this, and if it did work, there we go. We're gonna do the animation right here, which is gonna put us right here. Then we're gonna go through and we are good to go. So basically whenever you try to throw a bottle, it kind of takes priority over like certain actions, including trying to get into that closet. So because of that, we're actually able to move during that. When we stop moving, it'll play the animation. So we essentially have to get to like specific spots while we're like running, and it'll play the animation there instead of at the closet.
I swear. Oh, please, sir.
So we're gonna be using that a lot. That was kind of a small little example of it. There are gonna be a couple of bigger ones later on that skip a lot more. That one saves like maybe like 5 to 10 seconds and makes that area just a little bit more consistent. But yeah, we're coming up to the end of chapter 1 here, and if we did everything correctly, which I think we did, I hope so, fingers crossed, we should be hearing a little gold noise coming up here. Yep, we are good to go.
Nice.
So the reason we need that money is we need it for 3 things. We need it for 2 water arrows, and we also will need it for the wrench tool. The water arrows are going to be used both here, kind of near the beginning of the run, and then it's also going to be used near the very end of it. But we get both of them now because we don't get to stop at a merchant before we use the first one. And then we're also going to grab the wrench, and the wrench is important as well because we will need it for this upcoming chapter. So Garrett's been missing for a year. He's going to go talk to his old friend Basso, who was one of the characters in the first game that kind of acts as like your liaison for your contracts and stuff like that. He's like, hey, here's this thing. Go do it for money. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. We're going to get tasked with stealing a ring from a crematorium. We're not going to do that because we're speedrunners and that's slow. So we are going to go to the crematorium and then we're going to be basically leaving immediately. You'll see here in a second. Yeah, so between every chapters you have like the city area. These are where both there's like side quests when you're playing the game and when you get a little bit more freedom of exploration. Of course, this is a speed run, so we are not going to be doing any of that. There we go. We got the wrench. Awesome. So we're basically going to be going from like point A to point B without doing very much exploration. We also do get a little bit more lore here. It turns out the Queen of Beggars was taking care of us for a while. So we're going to go talk to her about some stuff. Now would be a good time for like a donation or two.
That's the last of them.
Absolutely. We have a $50 donation from Zach Dad, who says, babies in bed and time to watch some late night GDQ. Thank you, Memorial Day. Pour yourselves some coffee and buckle up for some awesome runs. We have $25 from Gate, who says, here's to another SGDQ and a couple mil or more for MSF. Time for one more?
Yeah.
Great. We have $10 from Anonymous, $5 from Anonymous, and $50 from Anonymous.
Awesome. So this level, basically, we're going to be skipping the entirety of it using the animation storage. We're going to do it on a poppy, which is like a little flower thing. And we're basically going to try and carry it to pull us to a specific direction, which pulls us out of bounds. And hopefully we can just drop down immediately to the very last part. We can die, so fair warning that can happen. But thankfully, we just have to like restart the chapter, and it's right here. For whatever reason, the only bad thing about the save sometimes is it doesn't save our bottle always. So because of that, if we do die here, we have to go to the chapter start, which not great, but if it happens, it's not too big of a deal. We are also going to get a flashback from Erin, where she says her name right here. So there's a couple of spooky stuff going on in this game, and that's one of the first examples of it. So as you can see there, I had that E prompt on screen for a while. Right now, I have the storage on here. I'm holding sprint through this like Assassin's Creed part, and when I let go of sprint, it's going to try and pull me back to that flower. And if we do it right, it should pull me into the out of bounds. I should get like stopped by an object, and we should be able to drop down.
Here comes one more for the knackers yard.
We're going to be like dropping in a very specific spot that might kill us, so hopefully that doesn't happen.
Look at this. A highborn in with the lowlifes. I wonder what he's got.
Not out here, sloop for brains.
And we got it. Nice.
Nice.
Gonna drop down here into this area. As you can see, these guys all loading because the game's like, wait a minute, you're here now? When this happened? So we come over here, and that's the entire level. Normally in that level, you have to go through a bunch of different stuff, and you have to find a ring off of a dead body. And we're getting it for a man named Orion, who's the leader of the Graven, which is kind of like a religious faction that's warring against the city guard. There's a lot of like story stuff in this game that is a little weird, but basically we do such a great job here. He gives us another job to go to the House of Blossoms and go underground to find a book for him in some like ancient ruins. We're also not going to do that. But before we do that, we're actually going to be going over to Erin's hideout to see if there's like any clues or tips or anything that kind of tells us what happened with her in that year's time. We can run past these guys. You'll be seeing them later on, but civilians will not like aggro to us. However, the guards will. And we have to be a little bit careful because if a guard is aggroed to us and we're close to like a door like this, it'll say like alert in progress and we won't be able to get through it. So we have to be like very, very careful whenever we're like running past guards that they're not following too close behind. Thankfully, they usually lose interest, but sometimes they'll just like make a beeline for you the entire time. And then here we go. We have another little animation here. You'll be seeing this one a lot. One of the cool things about this game is when you're playing this casually, you actually kind of get access to the entire city. And you get a bunch of like side quests that you can do from Basso and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. But for the speed run, it's like not useful to do any of that stuff at all. We don't need any money from it, unless like you're doing another category where it's like required. It's kind of just completely ignored as a mechanic. So right now we're just running past these guards. You'll see that there's like two different types. There's like the melee guards and then there's the ranged guards. The melee guards actually do kind of have a ranged attack where they just like throw a rock at you and it actually is really annoying. And then bows will also hit you as well, which is also annoying. Even though we're on the easiest difficulty, this is still a stealth game, so enemies will be doing a lot of damage if we're not trying to stealth past them. Thankfully, it doesn't become an issue too much. You get your health refilled every chapter, but sometimes it can be a problem. Also, get used to that music. It's going to play a lot.
It's a good beat, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this music is actually like really, really good. So this is Aaron's Mill. We're going to be doing some lore stuff here, and we're also going to get our first like little flashback section, or like hallucination section, where it's basically going to be a bunch of dialogue going on. It's supposed to be Aaron and Garrett having a conversation. However, because we have Garrett's voice turned off, it's just going to be Aaron talking, so it's kind of awkward. So, but it does save like a minute and a half in the speed run, and these are the sections where it saves time. So while we're having a lovely conversation with Aaron here, now would be a good time for some donations.
Absolutely. We have $15 from Crisis Wolf, who says, one of the runs I was quite surprised to see was Thief, so I had to come and take a look. Still new to all things speedruns for other games, but I'm excited to watch this Thief run.
We got some time for more.
Sure thing. We have a $25 donation from P.S. You Love Me. So happy to make my first donation back in person. That Kirby sign is amazing. I agree. And in the words of Scent, prizes? Just remember that whenever you donate, you scroll down, you can see all the prizes that you're automatically entering for. Time for any more?
Yeah, we got time for one more.
Absolutely. We have $50 from Jemmons, who says, what an amazing start to a GDQ. So happy to see everyone back in person.
All right, so we're gonna find a little tool here. This is a little medallion. Erin was tied to the House of Blossom. She worked there as a servant when she was younger. So this medallion's actually gonna help us find the book that we're trying to steal for Orion. It also kind of gives a hint that maybe Erin didn't die like Garrett thought. But we don't know that for sure yet. We gotta like slowly uncover the mystery, which is the main part of this game. One of the critiques is that it focused a little bit too much on the main story because there's not a whole lot of like actual thieving going on. But yeah, so Garrett is gonna be going there right now. Normally the game will have us go through the House of Blossoms and then we'll go down into the underground, find a book and escape. We're gonna be skipping that underground part almost entirely using one of the animation storages. So some of the maps in this game were just like playing it almost like the intended playthrough. This is one of them that's like very, very broken. It's also one of the harder ones as well. We basically need to do the animation storage while we are getting like captured or like while we're getting chased by guards. So we have to be very careful about that. If a guard hits us like while we are in the animation storage and at like a bad time, it will break it entirely. So with the animation storage, we can activate it using two ways while we like are running around. Either I stop sprinting or I press E. One of those two will cause it. And then sometimes we can even double it or triple it, which is really useful for areas later on. I also want to mention that there's another character called the Thief Taker General. He's kind of the bad guy that's going to be following us around. We were supposed to meet him in Chapter 2, however, we skipped that. So we're also supposed to meet him in Chapter 3, but we skipped the cutscene, so. But he's going to be a recurring character that Garrett will have to keep an eye out for through a majority of the run. You're gonna see me dodge right here as well. This game has a stamina meter which is tied to the sprint and the swoop, so we can't sprint an unlimited amount of time. Whenever we are out of stamina, the kind of best way to let it refill while still moving is by dodging forward. So if you ever see me like going like that a bunch, that's why. We're also gonna look in the ground right here because there's a little bit of a FPS issue here entering this room. There we go.
I see someone.
So we're gonna open this door because we can't open doors in areas later on. So we need to be careful here. Guards can block us, which is very, very bad. It's almost better that they like hit us instead of block us. We're gonna let our stamina refill. We're gonna get on that closet. So I'm gonna activate it with E, which is gonna pull me right here. That's gonna give my like stamina a chance to refund. I'm gonna walk over here. Hopefully we are not blocked in the doorway, please. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna drop down here. And then we're gonna get into a specific spot, and hopefully this works. All right, that worked. So we are now out of bounds. We were under where the closet was. I'm gonna be very careful going here. There we go. Gonna do a little safety save. So we need to climb on this. Again, we have something called contextual jumping in this game, meaning Garrett doesn't actually have the ability to lift his foot up higher than an inch unless the game tells him he can. So we're walking on a very thin line. So we're trying to get up here. I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna wait for a few loads, and then hopefully this works. I'm gonna pause and unpause. That's gonna deload the level. And then we see in the top left there is a little autosave sign. And if this works, we should load into like the next part of the level. Sometimes it soft locks, and then sometimes it doesn't work at all, but hopefully for GDQ, please.
This is so tense.
Yeah.
It is. Loading screens are here. Okay, so far it's so good. I think it should be okay. If we get to the end of this part and we hear someone whistling, then we are good to go.
Pause, champ.
Right about... We are good to go. Let's go. So that skips like probably 20 minutes casually. That's like a super large part that we just went over. But there we go. That is chapter 3.
Nice job.
Thank you. Now we're heading on to chapter 4. It turns out Basso has been doing some very bad stuff. So because of that, he is in jail in what's called the Keep, which is like this giant tower built by the Baron and is in control of the City Watch. And we need to go save him. And while we're saving him, we're also going to do a little bit of thieving because we are playing a game called Thief, so that does make sense. And we're going to go try and break into the Great Safe. But first, to get into the Keep and the safe, we need to go to the architect's house, the guy who built it, and we're going to go steal the plans that he has, which also has the safe code. Oh. So another thing you'll notice sometimes is if I dropped down there without like doing that super cool vault animation, I actually take damage. If I do the like way that I did it right there, then I don't take damage. So momentum kind of carries over and doesn't like count like as high of a height. So sometimes you'll see me like trying to like get a different or a specific animation or fall when I'm vaulting over things or other issues that I have like that. So we go over to where Basso's supposed to be. We see that there's a bunch of guards ransacking his place, and that's how we figure out where we need to go. This chapter is actually pretty much glitchless. There isn't really very many uses that we have for the animation storage. So it's mostly gonna be running from point A to point B, which is what we're gonna be doing right now. So we have time for donations.
Absolutely. And I would just like to point out to everybody that our current bid war for Save and Leave the Shepherds on screen right now is at exactly 50-50. It is precisely $1,277 to $1,274.50. Guys, we're at a turning point in timelines right now. Let's get those donations in and save or leave those shepherds, or hey, let's keep it balanced right until the end. All right, time for a donation?
Yeah, we got time.
We have $25 from Kairos, who says, I wonder what they put in the sloop. Love GDQ so much. Thanks for everything that everyone involved does to bring us this great event twice a year. I heard something about sloop for brains. I think that might be a hint.
All right, so chapter 4 right here is going to be starting out with kind of actually a really scary part. We kind of need to be stealth for an area because we need to find a secret book on a bookshelf and find like the secret switch for it. The thing is, it's random every time. And if we get hit while we're like searching for it, it kind of just like gets us, like bricks us out of it. So we're gonna have to be very careful and do some specific movement. We are gonna get spotted here, but we wanna like lose their aggro. And sometimes they'll follow us, sometimes they won't. So it's gonna be kind of just random. Also, story-wise, that explosion here, that is the tower that Basso is being kept at. Turns out the Graven, who are being like controlled by Orion, are like attacking the city and trying to like revolt against it. So Garrett's gonna kind of just find like a spot in all the madness in order to sneak through to save his friend. But we need these two guards to not follow us and not to aggro their buddies. So we're gonna try and like do a specific movement here. I'm gonna bop this guy in the back of the head, pull these guys away from this door. We're gonna open up that door, close this door, and then hopefully we do not get spotted. Let's see. If that guy loses it, then we're good. Okay. I think he lost us. We're gonna use this arrow. This is why we needed the water arrow. We need to take that down. We're gonna alert that bird behind us so they actually go to aggro towards that bird instead of aggroing to me. Oh, come on. There's that. And then we just need to make sure this animation goes through and we're good. That is way scarier than it looks. So we've gone into the secret architect's elevator, and this is where we're gonna find the plans. There's gonna be a giant like painting. We need to find a hidden switch behind it. We saw that early on at the beginning of the game. I knew where that one was because we load up the game, we find out what the first solution is, and then we can reload it. That's kind of just a community thing as runners. This one is completely random, and we need to find 2 of them. And the thing is, if you scan the entire painting and find the first one, the second one will spawn in after. So I guess Garrett just didn't feel it his first time going through. And so we could like have to like scour the entire painting twice, which isn't fun. So hopefully we get some good RNG here.
Theodore Eastwick.
I remember you telling me that the RNG in this game is seeded, right? That's why you're allowed to check like the
only the first puzzle.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why that one's seeded, but it's only going to be the very first solution, and that's like 15 seconds into the run. So it's definitely like not as bad, right? That was kind of okay RNG, not great. This one is a little bit worse. Of course, we chose, it's like going to be, yeah, there it is.
Almost a complete 360 right there.
Every time I want it to be good RNG, it happens. We got another puzzle here. We need to match the like fake tower with the real one. Thankfully, this answer is always exactly the same every time, so you don't really need to worry about RNG here. So solution's really always 1, 2, 1, 2, and then a 1 at the end. Bam. So that's going to reveal the secret bookcase, which is going to have the grand safes, schemes on how to open it, and also the combination. Unfortunately, they didn't go for a 0451 joke with this, which I was really disappointed when I played it casually. And then we get a unskippable cutscene here that we cannot skip. This is kind of the example as to like the tonal difference between the first game and the fourth game is gonna be this game right here. Or gonna be this like sequence right here. Bursting through the window, super cool and cinematic. And then we got 2 guys with like dogs at the very end of a balcony, just completely ready for Garrett to be like coming out this way. Just like not even like a doorway for them to come through. Then we got a little Marvel moment here as well. So they definitely wanted this to feel like a very AAA action game, which they definitely succeeded, especially with a sequence like this.
It definitely fits the time period of the game's release.
Yeah. This was like right around 2014, so this feels like a 2014 game.
Yeah.
But there we go, we have escaped the house, and now we are going to be climbing up this way. Another thing you'll have to see me do is whenever you're like doing the swoop, you're actually not technically crouched, so you have to like time the crouch button, because if you press it too early, then he won't stay crouched, and if you press it too late, he also won't stay crouched. This is kind of a problem later on when we're doing some of the animation stuff, but thankfully, we should be okay here. So now we're heading over to the keep, and it's actually being attacked by the Graven, so it's going to be blowing up and very explosive, and a lot of bad stuff going on right now in this city. There's also something going on called the Gloom, which is kind of just like a sickness that they don't really have a cure for, and that's also going to tie into a lot of the story stuff that's been going on. Yeah, as you can see here, we don't have to worry about that guard. We got a kind of cool little section right here. So everything is exploding right here. And normally when you stand on this upcoming thing, you actually fall down, but if you stay crouched, it doesn't fall. So if you're not like running too quickly, then we're good to go. It's kind of like the new RE4 remake section. Just like a random part where if you just like walk instead of sprint, you're good to go. And then also the flames for that are only like when it's bursting up the flames, not like the after flame. But yeah, we got a lot more loud stuff going on because everything's blowing up. For some reason, oh, I've never had that happen before. GDQ first, of course.
You said the thing.
Yeah, the mandated GDQ moment.
It wouldn't be a good GDQ run without one.
Of course not.
Let's try that again. There we go.
And I can't bend the steam.
It like turns off your like some of your movement abilities there, so I was like trying to like swoop, and it unfortunately decided to cut it off a little bit earlier than it usually does. So we're gonna sneak through the flames there. This is like a section where you like have to figure out where you're going. Thankfully, I already know where to go. Then we come through here. So these lockpicks, you'll see me when I like get to the very last one. The moment I figure out what it is, I can just immediately back out of it, and it just continues to unlock it. Once we get an ability later on, that won't be the case. So nice little timer save right there, and now we are on an elevator. An elevator section is a great time for donations.
Absolutely. And hey, we just got $50 from Sunrise that says, gotta save the shepherds. They're animals too. I mean, animals. I think that Super Metroid fans and Leave fans just got called out, and that just put Leave ahead. So, or save ahead. Leave fans, we gotta catch up, guys.
All right, here's Basso right here. We're gonna get him out of there. He was having a good time. He wasn't minding his imprisonment too much. And now we get a longer elevator section. We're trying to find the Great Safe, which has something great in it because it's in the name. And this is a very long elevator section, so we got time for a bunch of awesome donations. And hopefully some towards Save the Shepherd, which is my choice, but don't let me sway you.
What's going on?
Yeah, we should be good for a few donations.
Absolutely. And we have a $25 donation from Drayler who says, I'm now committed to keeping the Loom incentive tied for as long as possible. We love the chaos, guys. We love to see it. Other things that we love, $25 from Uncertain Zero says, I'm loving this run of Thief. It's always been a great franchise, and it's great to see it in GDQ. Time for a couple more?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we have $50 from Billy Graff, who says, hi, second time donating. GDQ is such a good time to discover new games, discover new things in your favorite games, and in general, a good time to watch or vibe with. Good luck, you silly speed runners and humble bumble hosts. Hey, that's me.
All right, so this is the Great Safe. This area is actually why we play on patch 1.0 instead of current patch. Also, shout out to the devs. They made it the easiest down patch I've ever seen in a video game, where it's literally just tied the Steam beta branch. So it's like every single patch is right there and easy to do. Thank you so much. I hope more games do that eventually. But the reason we play on this is because this is like pretty much the only thing that they actually patched, is we can actually get into this safe early on by squeezing through a little gap when we're inserting the code. It's a little bit RNG, but it saves quite a bit of time, so hopefully we're able to get it. Also, Garrett just got hit there by an arrow for the Thief Taker General, so that's not very fun. We're going to be running past these guys. They shouldn't bug us too much, but we're going to be trying to squeeze through this little area. Sometimes it takes 30 tries, sometimes it takes one. Hopefully it's going to be one for GDQ. Ah, no, we got caught. All right, try that a couple more times. Yeah, this part is like very kind of, I don't want to say random because that's not really the right word, but like it's very difficult to squeeze through that, and sometimes it feels like you're in the perfect position for it, and it still doesn't work. So try this again. It has to do with like how you're on this thing, what buttons and keys you're pressing, etc. And unfortunately, if you get stuck halfway through, you can't like just try it again right there. You have to reload the level, because otherwise you are stuck in there, and the game is just like, hey, what's up? And you just have the guards kind of poking you. It's not very fun.
You do have that checkpoint at least.
Yeah, that checkpoint is very nice, and this game is super generous with them. Oh, okay, that works. I've never seen that before, but that, we're okay, we're good. The guard just knocked us right into there. He was like, sorry, we kind of messed you up the first two, we'll give you the third one. I didn't even know that could happen. Again, never before seen on GDQ.
Yeah, for the better at least.
Yeah, the first time.
The game gives us and it takes away.
So we have another little section here. This is the reason why we turn off Garrett's voice. This section is so long if Garrett is talking during this. And the voice acting is really good, by the way. I would recommend casually turn on his voice. But they're supposed to be having a back and forth here, talking about different things and all that stuff. And Garrett's being, edgy and just like, and unfortunately, we don't get any of that. But thankfully, it ends right there. If Garrett's voice was on, we would be walking around that room for another 50 seconds. It's a very long time. Also, jump scare warning, whenever you see teal in this game, it's kind of like the spooky world. So if you're not a fan of horror games, which is totally fine, and you don't like scary stuff because this game goes for a lot of jump scares, just kind of, turn it off for a second. I'll try and warn you whenever I can, but this game likes to be loud and annoying sometimes. Like that. And then that's the chapter. So what we just found right there is a primal stone. It is this super cool energy. We saw it or we were supposed to see it in the very opening. It's what Aaron falls onto. We actually find one of the pieces, but it's shattered. So we don't have all of them. So we need to find the rest of them. Because we also got that little sequence right there with Aaron, Garrett gets the idea to go to somewhere called Moira Asylum. This is the horror level where even people who aren't a fan of this game really like this level because it's very scary and it's very well done. But again, if you are not a fan of horror stuff, I'd recommend, just kind of listening out for me. I'll try and give you warnings. There's a couple little jump scares. This was 2014, so this was peak jump scare time.
YouTube era, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a scary game or a game about stealing stuff?
I don't even think it's either of those. There's 8 chapters, and only one chapter is really about Garrett wanting to proactively steal something from someone. But it's definitely one of the games of all time.
Okay.
We are also meeting kind of a new faction. This is the Graven. So those were the civilians that we saw earlier that were kind of cool with us. Now they're not. Even though we're kind of doing jobs and stuff for Orion, because we're technically not part of the Graven, they don't like us. So they're going to be trying to attack us as well, along with the guards. Garrett just really doesn't have any friends out in this world. So he has to be on the lookout for them as well. That functionally, gameplay-wise, they're basically the same. They're the same enemy types and all that stuff with crossbows and swords. So there's not that big of changes with them. But it's just another group that we're going to have to deal with. Also have to be careful here. This is where the swoop really comes into play, where we can reach this gate just before we get one of those guards to come follow us, where it would stop us from doing so. So we are big fans of swooping in the thief community. So right now we are heading to Siren's Rest. It's actually a little tavern. This is where we're going to be doing our second kind of merchant pickup. Normally in the run we only do 2. I'll do a third one later on for a backup. But this is where we're going to be basically stocking up on the rest of the arrows that we need for the entire game. We pretty much don't need too many, actually, but we do need a couple of them for specific purposes. And I think the most important thing that we're going to get is flash bombs. So normally I've been having to pick up throwable bottles in order to set up for the animation storage. And as you remember, sometimes when you do autosaves or loads or something like that, you'll actually just lose the bottle straight up, which is not good if you need to do an animation storage. Thankfully, though, we're going to pick up flash bombs, which we will never lose. And we can actually do animation storage off of the flash bombs. So we will always have it in our inventory and we'll always be able to do so, which is really, really good. So hopefully this guy doesn't follow too closely. Sometimes he likes to head over the door. Nope, we're good. So we're gonna meet with Basso. He has a bow. He's gonna take us over, and then we're gonna grab all of our supplies. It's also nice because we finally get a little bit of safety with our health. We haven't really needed it because we don't take too much damage. But we're gonna grab a couple of broadhead arrows, a couple of choke arrows, a couple of rope arrows, some blunt arrows, all of these flash bombs, all of the food. We're also gonna grab another tool, wire cutter. We should have enough for the warm vest, which is gonna get us some extra HP. And we will see that guy, never, that's the last time we see him. So chapter 5 here is one of the glitchier ones. It has some very difficult out of bounds. Hopefully everything's okay. This game is kind of reliant on different loads. It was okay in the practice room, and one of the earlier ones was also okay, but like, we kind of just need to hope that the game is just liking us today. I know some of the other runners have had issues with a lot of these glitches, but thankfully we have backup saves, but you know, who wants to use those in a run?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, a fair warning, this is the spooky level. We're gonna be introduced to a new, very scary enemy. So even though it's late at night, most people who are up are gonna be horror fans. Given fair warning now. But if you like horror, this is like the really cool level. I don't think it's like worth it like to play the entire game if you don't like stealth games. But if you're like a horror fan, I look up like a playthrough and see how they go through it because it's really fun. This opening area though is pretty much like, don't have to worry about any enemies. This is gonna be mostly running from point A to point B before we can do another storage. So we got time for like 2 donations.
I don't know. This spooky level has me spooked. You know what else has me spooked? Peggle. So can we donate $5,000 more to that Peggle incentive so that we can get rid of all the pegs on that final level and to keep me from getting spooked out of my gourd on that one? Thank you so much.
Also, really quick, just a jump scare warning right here. Ah. How was my reaction? Does that seem genuine?
Genuine. I was convinced, for sure.
All right, got time for one quick donation.
Spooky, we have $50 from Thyroid Ranger who says, hi.
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 All right. So this is going to be the first animation storage that we're going to be doing of this level. It's actually going to be 3 of them in one. So we need to get through that door, and only we have to do a bunch of stuff in order to unlock it, while also discovering the mystery of what happened to this abandoned asylum. First things first, we're going to unscrew this. This is the vent that we're going to utilize in order to get over there. We're going to set up the storage. Oh, this is going to be a little bit weird. We got stuck on an invisible object. That should be okay, because we're just going to do another one right here. Let's try that again. There we go. So we're going to do, we can't actually crouch while we're doing this very easily, so we're going to do one right there. And as you can see, we still have the E prompt on our screen. So because of that, we can still do another animation storage. So we're going to do that again right here to get through this wall. And then normally we can go through this door normally. However, it's more fun to do it like this and a little bit faster, which is the main part of it. We just gone through, and now we are good to go. So we're going to use our brand new tool. We got these wire cutters earlier. That's going to open up this door really quickly. And normally I would do another little animation storage on this upcoming area where we actually like break the game to do a actual load instead of a fake one where it tries to hide it behind an animation. But it's a little unreliable. Wasn't doing too good in the practice room, so, and thankfully the RTA timing on it is basically no different. But as I mentioned before, these are technically like loading zones, but we time it with RTA without loads. However, those still count. So if we got the little jump right here, we did. Awesome. So this is going to be the big animation storage. We're going to go into the basement and skip a bunch of stuff. We're also going to get introduced to, I think they're called the Forsaken. Let me do this right here. So we're going to get on this closet. Going to swoop and crouch at the same time. Going to run all the way up here. We're going to do the first one. And then hopefully we won't need the second one. If we do, it's not a big deal. We got stuck, so we need the second one. That's why we do that for backup. And we're going to land right here. And then land right here. And then land down on this vent out of bounds. Thought we got stuck there. Got a little scared. Touch right there. We'll see a pop-in down there. Then we're going to come up onto here. We're going to come over here. Wait for the floor to deload. Press here. And then we press again. and we fell through the floor, and then hopefully we'll land on the stairs without any issues, game. That would be fantastic. We are good to go. Nice.
Good job.
So those are the new enemies. They are basically blind enemies who hate the light, and we will have to avoid them. The flash bombs that we have will actually immediately kill them, so they're really good to use against them. We only run into these guys a couple of times. Usually they're not too big of a deal for us to like run past and go against, but this is one of the areas where they can be a little scary, a little spooky. This also upcoming section, I just want to let tech know, is going to be a little bit loud, so if you want to turn down the game volume, that's fine, because this game has absolutely zero audio balancing. I do apologize if when I died earlier, it like blew out your eardrums, because for whatever reason, whenever you die, the game really likes to punish you by turning your game volume all the way to like 100%. It's like, oh, you died? That's cool. But we're gonna get another like little like segment that's like spooky and weird stuff going on. Also, we got these guys over here. Oh no! That's fine. It was all just a dream. Maybe. I don't know. I'm actually not too sure about the how the reality of this area works. If this is like actually Garrett moving or not. Yeah. We got another little falling section. As you can see, again, very like dramatic and cinematic and very AAA. But yeah, now would be a good time for some donations while we're just running through this part really quickly.
And donations we have a $50 donation from Niedel, who says, "We swoopin'."
We swooping, yeah.
Also, I would like to point out that Save the Shepherds is currently up $50. Are we gonna let that stand? I don't wanna let that stand. We have $25 from McFamily, who says, "My husband and I watching GDQ. We have it on all day. This year's extra special because we are sharing it with our son. Love you all. Hope your son grows up to be a little speedrunner. Or a regular size speedrunner. Any size works, really." Time for a couple more?
Yep.
All right. We have $25 from Centroid41, who says, "Happy to donate to such a great cause and hope to get out to a GDQ next year. We will be so happy to have you."
All right, so we're coming to the end of this section, which is gonna be the end of this level. Look, it's Erin, she's alive. Let's go. And this is where we get some little bit of lore. So it turns out when she fell, she merged kind of with the Primal Stone. And because of that, she got a bunch of powers. And the Baron, who's the like leader of the city and kind of the owner of the city's guard, is like experimenting on her in order to like gain a bunch of power. And then, spoiler, Orion's eventually going to find her and attempt to use her to cure the gloom, which is like the disease going on. If that happens, though, they'll all turn into the Forsaken, which are the enemies that we just fought. So the main plot point now is going to be Garrett is going to be trying to stop both the Baron and Orion from basically just wreaking havoc. There we go. That is going to be the chapter completed. Now we're going to be heading back to, I can't remember. It's like the Northcrest Manor. Yeah, Northcrest Manor in Aldale. This is where we did the prologue. It's going to be a little bit different now. We're going to go try and confront the Baron about where the pieces are of the Primal Stone, because we only have one, and there's like 2 more that we need to grab. So we're going to go talk to him about that, figure out where it is. This is like a pretty interesting level because there's not really many skips to it that we're going to be doing, but there's still like kind of like mini intended skips. We're also going to be using our very first like smoke arrow. This is going to be used to like kind of confuse enemies. Normally when we were doing this, it was completely RNG if an enemy would follow us. However, now we have a consistent strat in order to make sure he doesn't follow us. So yeah, this game has like a lot of different arrows that you can utilize for different purposes. You know, like we already saw the water arrow to take down fire and other stuff like that. This is also gonna be a very cinematic area. Again, if you ever seen a Michael Bay film, this is like the Michael Bay level. So yeah, as you can see, like lore-wise, we haven't seen it too much, but if you're playing this game casually, you'll have a lot of like city guards going around in the beginning with a lot of civilians, and then as time goes on, we're now starting to run into more and more Graven until eventually it's just going to be only them around. So you can kind of see like the changing of the city, which is actually pretty cool. You get to see like more things on fire and different like, you know, signs and flags being put up because of it. So now we're in the Aldale Manor. This is going to be part where we have to be a little bit stealthy because we need to open a door and we don't want to be interrupted while we're doing that. So we're going to come over this way. We're going to be like, hey, bud, how's it going? I'm going to shoot him with that. That's going to stun him, and then hopefully no one should be following us. I don't like how long we had those eyes on us. All right, we're good. We do not hear the music. We're going to wait for a sound cue right here.
Digging himself a ditch to hide in.
Going to jump on over once we hear that. And then we're going to get our very first focus upgrade. So that's going to be dexterity. The reason we are doing this is because we are now getting larger locks, where it's not going to be 3-pin, it's actually 4 pins. And we can use the focus ability to see the internals, which is going to make this way faster. It's not too important here. It is going to be important for one of the locks later on. There's also another glitch we could do here to kind of trick the game into like thinking we're on the other side and give us a load, but we're not going to do it because it's pretty inconsistent in RTA-wise. It doesn't save very much time. Yeah, so this is the North Crest Manor. Not going to be a whole lot going on here. Sometimes this area can be a little sketchy because there's a lot of guards around and they can sometimes block us or mess us up because we do need to use our like dodge forward when we run out of stamina. And sometimes like the game will try and dodge you towards an enemy, which is not very good. We want to dodge away from them. So I'm going to be very careful coming up those stairs. There we go. And we should be good for any danger for a bit of a minute here. So we're going to come over here, get a bunch of lore coming up right now, along with some Assassin's Creed parkour. I don't know what's going on with Garrett's outfit right there. I think it has to do with a high FPS. I'm not too sure because it doesn't happen on my PC, but I'm sure it's fine. Also gonna be careful right there because again, the swoop button and the climb button are the same like key. Because again, the jumping in this game is contextual. So sometimes if you're not careful, you'll jump instead of swoop, and that can cause a lot of problems later on, or vice versa. So as we're climbing up this elevator, we're also going to be running into the Thief Taker General again once more. We're going to hear some dialogue from him. He's not a very good guy. It's not like a bad guy versus good guy thing. It's more just like evil man versus a thief. Even though we're not doing much, stealing, we're still a thief technically. But we're going to confront the Baron. Baron's going to tell us the location of the last 2 pieces. The first one is going to be in an underground laboratory that's below his manor right here. And the second one is actually in Garrett's eye. So that's like the reason we can use the focus abilities in the first place is because we have a piece of the primal stone inside of our eye, which is kind of scary if you think about it. And as we're skipping this cutscene, the Baron's house is actually going to be invaded by the Graven. So now instead of having to run past all those guards, we just have to run past the Graven. Again, no gameplay difference, but they're wearing a little bit more red on them. Well, we got time for one quick donation.
Absolutely. We have $20 from Anonymous, who says comment has left anonymous. Yeah, that's right. Cool.
So normally there is a animation storage that we could do here, but I'm not going to because it's very inconsistent. We have to do 2 of them in a row, and we can't get hit by the enemies that are chasing us. And the enemies are very accurate. Like, they know how to throw rocks. Also, this is an example where we need that to be that, like, swipe, or like that, like, dash over the railing. If we just climb the railing and drop down, we take damage. Another, like, weird little quirk of this game.
Garrett, I'm slipping.
So we got a little puzzle coming up here. I guess it's technically a puzzle. But yeah, as you can see, the Baron's laboratory, they were doing a bunch of experiments on here, including on Erin. So she's not been having a very fun time while Garrett was in a coma for a year. But this is like one of the areas that they were doing research on this primal stone. I don't know exactly like what powers it gives. I just know it just gives power. So yeah, what we need to do here is we need to open this up. We need to do that by finding the weak points in the cracks. So once that starts shaking, we come over to this one, turn it to increase the pressure. Just want to give a fair warning to tech as well. This part is going to be a little bit loud for this level. So if you do want to turn the game down, that would be very helpful. All right, third and final one. And there we go. So you guys know, like, thieves are pretty well known for being, you know, very, you know, agile people, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Garrett is not really. So right now, he's just gonna slip on a banana peel and just tumble down a bunch. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah.
No big deal.
I also want to mention that it's been like 2 weeks since he got hit in the hand, and he has not changed his bandage at all. That cannot be sanitary. But there we go. We run into the Thief Taker General again, who steps on our hand, and we go, hey, that's rude. So we pull ourselves back, and we fall down into the sewers. You know, it makes sense. This game, like, you could tell some of the cutscenes were made before the entire game was finalized. So sometimes transitions between levels could be a little weird. But the Graven have basically destroyed this entire bridge. So we're gonna be crossing a bridge as it's like getting destroyed and tumbling down. Again, pretty cool sequence. Doesn't really feel like it belongs in a Thief game, but it's still really cool nonetheless. And this game, I want to mention, has like an insanely good art style. Like for a 2014 game, it looks really nice, especially a lot of like the first-person animations. I know that they put like a very heavy emphasis on like a lot of the mocap for that kind of stuff. Here we go. We got some parkour stuff going on. We actually got some kind of cool sections here as like the houses are like beginning to like fall off the edge of the bridge, or like climbing through them as they're like destroyed and stuff like that. Gotta wait for this to let us do it, because again, he can't climb or jump unless the game allows him to. Which can be scary, especially when you're doing some jumps, is sometimes you'll press it when it should have showed up, and instead of jumping, he'll just swoop forward and fall to his death, which is not very fun. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Also want to be careful about our stamina here, because we can lose a lot of it pretty easily. Our stamina meter, unfortunately, doesn't have like we can't see it in game. We just know when it's low. Right there, right there. Oops, got caught in fire. That shouldn't be too big of a problem. And then here you'll see what I was talking about, it being, you know, a very cinematic game, as we got this section right here. Very convenient for us to like be on like the collapsing part of the buildings that are just like making paths for us to get through it. Gotta watch out. Thankfully, like, you can't really die here, but we want to try and avoid getting set on fire, because then it slows us down. And this is my favorite part of this section, where like the house like tips over. Again, you can really see the like Michael Bay Transformers inspiration in this section. And of course, you have to end it off on a slow motion dive. I mean, you have to. Well, I'm sure they'll fix that in like a couple of days. It'll be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But there we go. We are heading over into basically the final section of the game. Chapter 7 and Chapter 8 don't have like a city part in between it like all the other levels. They're kind of just like connect back to back. So this will be the last time that we see Garrett's like little humble abode, which is actually pretty cool. If you're doing a lot of the side missions, you actually collect like jeweled pieces and stuff like that, and he like displays them out, which is really nice. A lot of like the stuff that you steal is pretty cool looking. Unfortunately, there's just no use to picking up 50 items worth like 2 golds in this game, so we don't really see a whole lot of it. We're gonna drop down here. If we land on that pole, we don't take any damage. If we do land on, or if we don't land on that pole, then we take a lot. Just like, again, one of the like little weird quirks of this game is just like for fall damage, it's basically just like a flat line where it's like if you're just below it, you're good. If you're just above it, you're taking a lot. But yeah, so what's going on right now is Orion has Aaron, so we're gonna have to go save her and stop him from using the Primal Stone, because if he uses that energy again, he'll turn everyone into Forsaken. This is also gonna have one of the hardest and yet one of the coolest glitches in this game. So I did this game in a marathon a while back, and I said that, hey, if we can skip this elevator section, that's like the holy grail. That's like the trick that we really, really want. And someone took that to heart. I think it was Thanks For is his username. He was like, I'm gonna find the skip for that. And he found like the coolest one in this entire game. So I want to give shouts to him, but we are now in the end game. So we're gonna be sneaking through here.
You said Orion would give us back what we lost, that he can heal the gloom. I thought my little...
And yeah, Demonic is not joking when he says this skip is pretty cool, because although I don't run this game, and neither does Mike, as a speedrunner, you can really appreciate what this skip really does.
Excuse me, bud. Thankfully, also, if we take a lot of damage here, it doesn't matter too much because we've got a lot of healing, so we can kind of just spam that. We're going to walk over that glass, hit that bell to open the door, then we're going to try and hit a rope arrow through here. So normally we're supposed to take an elevator like that and go all the way down, and it's a 2-minute section. It sucks. It's really boring. So we're gonna climb this. I'm gonna be very careful here because sometimes grabbing that rope is not very fun. Go here. We're gonna get some storage right here. Drop down, fall. Please don't hit us. Nice. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna slowly wait till we get a sliding animation. There we go. All right, so when you are sliding, you do not take fall damage. So we're gonna go all the way down here, skip this entire elevator section, and it looks absolutely amazing. I love this skip. There we go, we got another one. So we're still out of bounds, even though it kind of looks like we're in bounds. I'm gonna do a safety save right there, because we need to get a slide animation here, which we did, and that is the skip. Perfect. That saves like 2.5 minutes. It's such a good skip. So now we're gonna be navigating this entire area. Everything's bad, things are going bad around here. We're gonna be running into the Forsaken enemies again, which are not very fun. They like to cause problems. Yeah, we got some time for a donation or two.
Absolutely, and we have $5 from Psychosis, who says, good luck to Demonic on the Thief 2014 run. All of us in the Thief Speed Tapping Discord are watching and are stoked to see one of our own on stage. So much work has been put into this game, and its run over the last year, it's been so great to watch. GDQ is always a great event, and I hope everyone is having a great time for a good cause.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Psychosis. He's like one of the OG Thief runners. He's been like really cool. He's like basically was like, hey, you guys want a spot in the Discord? We'll get you set up. Even though this game isn't like as popular or well received with a lot of the people who played the original games, which it's very fair. It's a very different game. They have been very nice and very helpful with a lot of different stuff. So we're gonna have this ladder right now. Basically, we're just trying to get past a bunch of guards. We have a fight coming up, so we haven't had any boss fights until now. I've been mentioning the Thief Taker General. We're actually gonna fight him, but we're not gonna kill him. The game gives you the option to like fight him if you want to. However, we're just gonna actually sneak basically past him. After we sneak past those guys, ooh. Again, this is where the swoop comes into play. If you didn't have that swoop, those guys would catch up and block the like little section right here, so. Again, we are big fans of the swoop. But yeah, so we're gonna actually like sneak past him. And it's not only easier and more consistent, but it's like faster as well. So it's really nice that we haven't been doing a lot of stealth because it's a speed run, but at the very least we have like a little bit of a stealth section in the game. And that's actually where a lot of these like arrows are going to be coming into play that we got earlier.
Check the disturbance, friend.
So we're just gonna be running past all of these guys. Excuse me, gentlemen. Trying to go fast here. Have to be careful with some of these jumps because you can get in big trouble if you miss one. It's very hard to recover from, but we are good to go. So we're gonna get a little section right here where Orion is trying to do a ritual on Aaron, and we're gonna interrupt that and get all the pieces of the Primal Stone. But first we have a spooky moment. So again, jump scare, a little bit loud noise, just a fair warning. We're also gonna pick up our first like poppy of the game. Normally these are growing around, they refill your focus, but we really haven't had a use of them, so we actually get like the tutorial prompt for what they are. And then right now we're gonna run into the Thief Taker General. So this fight, we have to turn 2 cogwheels and then we have to pick a lock. And we have to do it without getting detected by the Thief Taker General while he's like moving around and trying to find us. So hopefully this part goes well. We're gonna crouch immediately. And he will hear us like over there. And then hopefully he'll be like very focused on that part while we're going through this area. Even on this like hardest difficulty, does a lot of damage. Okay, that hit him, cool. Gonna come over here. He's like, hey, that was mean. He's gonna continue to search for us. So this is where that first water arrow that we bought at the very beginning of the game comes into play. We shoot that right there. And this is where that focus upgrade is gonna come into play in order to pick this lock. And then hopefully he won't spot us. I like that icon staying yellow. That means he doesn't know where we are. And we are out of there. And look, we didn't even kill him. It's great. And that is chapter 7. So now we're heading over onto the final chapter, the Dawn's Light. So it turns out they built this giant boat and they're gonna take it out of the city. That's bad because if they take it out with the like special stuff, it'll cause everyone to turn into Forsaken and then it'll spread out through the entire world. So we don't want that. So we gotta both stop that and we also gotta go save our girl Arid because she has not been having a good time and kinda needs Garrett's health. So we also have a little section right here. Gonna run this corner. Hopefully that guy gets far enough away. These guys like to do a lot of damage and follow us for a very long time. But thankfully the flash bomb we can kind of cheat with because it'll just like knock these guys out. There we go. Got another little lockpick section. Awesome. So yeah, right now we're trying to find a way to the boat. And we're trying to get past these guys. These guys usually don't bother us, but we're also gonna be able to stop at a merchant. Basically stock up on health items. We don't really need them, but both it's marathon safety, and if you have a bunch of them, then you actually can do a skip in the final boss. Oh, we can actually buy one more? Cool, I will use that. And then you can go here again. I did forget something. Perfect.
Know where to find me.
So that is gonna be the last merchant that we talked to, and we're gonna head up this way. We got a little Assassin's Creed area coming up, and that is a great time for donations. I also do want to mention that Garrett's design in this game, like his actual character design and how he looks, is very cool. He looks exactly like how I picture a thief would. All right, so this is actually going to be kind of weird. This is the first like real guard that we kill with an arrow. So we're going to come over here, vault over, and because we need to squeeze past this guy and he'll just get in our way, just arrow him in the face and we can run right past. Only time that we like do that in the speedrun the entire game. Feels like we should do it more, but it's like just never needed. We gotta wait for this elevator to go down. If we have a donation, that'd be good.
Absolutely, and we have $50 from Domina, who says, I always love a runner who's energetic in the late night block. You rock, Demonic Robots.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna hit this guy right here with that arrow. That's gonna stop him from blocking us. Gonna climb on over here, slide on down. And this is basically gonna be the last like section with guards that we're gonna be running into. After this, we are gonna be not bothering with human enemies anymore. So we're gonna run into Orion and Aaron. Aaron is gonna use her magical abilities to kill Orion, or I think he uses the book. It's kind of weird. These sections, like, you can really tell that the like FMVs were made before the actual game, so there's a little bit of a disconnect. But now we're gonna try and find Aaron, and Aaron is not having a good time right now. She's mad at Garrett. She's mad at everything. She's gonna be like teleporting. We also had our first like instance of real RNG, where we need to sneak up on Aaron in this area, and it's kind of random where her spawn is. She usually gives like good RNG like 75% of the time, but because she gave it to me every single time in practice, now during the actual GDQ run, it's gonna be bad RNG. Am I right? Oh no, we got good RNG, cool. Oh, no, we didn't. We got bad RNG. Like I said, every single time in like 10 practice runs, she was there at the beginning every single time. And of course, when we're on camera, you know, she just has to give us bad RNG. It's like a 10-second time loss.
I was gonna say, you jinxed it, you know?
I really did. I shouldn't have said anything. And there we can see that Aaron's powers have been like corrupting people and turning them to like these Forsaken monsters. Gonna run right past these guys though. Hit this guy with that. So now we need to collect 3 pieces of the Primal Stone again, and she'll like get near us while we're doing that and like explode into like a huge thing of light, which does a lot of damage. But thankfully we can use it, we can block it with like the pillars, or we can do right here, we can face take it. So if we didn't have healing items, we would have to like wait, but thankfully we're good to go. Second piece right there. And third piece, all right. Time is gonna be coming up here in a second. All we need to do is just attach the Primal Stone to Aaron and grab her. So it's gonna be time coming up here in just a minute. Just gonna be walking on over. Hey, Aaron, and time.
Great job.
Thank you. So that is Thief 2014. I hope that gave you a good idea about how good this game is. If you're interested in running this game, there's a bunch of people who are like always helping out. Q-Sets, who's the world record holder, has been doing a lot of work in the past year on this game. Bunch of skips, bunch of finds. He's a really cool guy. Thanks for is also a glitch hunter who has found a majority of these really cool skips, including my favorite one on Chapter 7. Want to give a shout out to them. And the Old Guard as well. This game was made by basically like Stunning Parallel. He routed out a lot of his stuff with that. Toxic CT was also one of the major world record holders. Great guys. Want to give a shout out to J-Root and Psychosis as well. They're part of the Thief 1 and Thief 2 community, so if you want to run those older games, you can. And yeah, if you want to follow me, I do a bunch of games. Thief, I do some other stealth games. I've done like Dishonored in the past. You can follow me over at twitch.tv/DemonicRobots. And I'll let my amazing commentators, thank you guys so much for being here, plug themselves, but like they don't know the game, they just like learned it and helped me out. So thank you guys for doing that.
Of course.
Where can people find you?
I'm stream over at mikewave at twitch.tv. I normally run Resident Evil games as well as Mass Effect games.
Yeah, and you can catch me at twitch.tv/captain_Ezekiel. I too run Resident Evil games as well.
Cool. I also want to give a shout out to our host who did a great job. Thank you so much for being awesome and reading some amazing amazing donations. And yeah, thank you everybody. I will pass it on over. Hope you guys enjoy the run and have a great night.
Well, thank you so much for that amazing run, Demonic. It was really fun, a little spooky, you know, the perfect speed run for, what is it now, 2 in the morning? Gosh, at least Minneapolis time. With so much sneaking happening on stage, though, I feel like I've just gotta sneak in a donation before we take a little break here, you know, stretch our legs. We have a $500 donation from A Tall Shade of the Color Red that says, what a stylish way of sliding out of bounds. Thank you so much. And let's all, like, you know, sneak off to the bathroom, sneak off to get some water, and just hang out for a little while. And welcome back. Hope that you all got your stretches in, you got all that sneaking out of your system, because it's time for a completely different tech. We're about to start collecting some stuff. Y'all, we got Banjo-Kazooie coming up. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this run for a while. So let's hear some donations. But first up, we got $50 from Draylor, who said, "You will not untie this shepherd race. They must both be saved and left at the same time. It's science." Well, Draylor, I hope that you're right, because immediately we got a $1,000 donation from Heidi PhD to break that tie. They say, yeah, let's hear it. They say, staying up well past my bedtime because I have got to watch my favorite video game ever, Banjo-Kazooie. So many sweet memories of playing Banjo back in the day with my little gaming genius kids patiently tutoring me. Memories like finally releasing Clanker without drowning, hitting all the tree jumps without falling splat, and beating Boggy at his sled race. In your face, Boggy. And you just can't beat that classic Banjo-Kazooie soundtrack. Save the Shepherds. Can I get a yeah? We've also got a $50 donation from Clarinet Hero that says, wah-hey! What's everyone's favorite, yeah or wah-hey? We'll find out when we face Boggy. We have a $5 donation from Cheche that says, jiggy jiggy. We have a $5 donation from JJ Wildheart, who says, SGDQ hype. We're getting a little bit out of an audience. It's late night at Minneapolis here. Y'all, donation bid wars and sneaking around and getting jiggies is all well and good, but we gotta remember why we're here, and that's MSF. MSF, or Doctors Without Borders, is an independent international organization that offers medical humanitarian assistance to people based solely on need, irrespective of race, religion, gender, or political affiliation. Over the past 5 decades, MSF has grown from a group of a few hundred volunteers to an international movement, providing over 10 million medical consultations in more than 70 countries every year. MSF's core values of humanitarianism, independence, neutrality, and impartiality continue to drive their work in providing life-saving aid to people whose survival is threatened by violence, neglect, or catastrophe, primarily due to armed conflict, epidemics, malnutrition, exclusion from healthcare, or natural disasters. Guys, just like, we have a ton of fun here, but let's remember what it's all about every now and again. We have a $25 donation from Losbert, who says, the last Banjo-Kazooie at a GDQ is what got me into speedrunning many years ago. Gotta donate as a thank you. We have a $10 donation from Jinjo, who says, oh gosh, this one's gonna, help. Think I got that one good. We have a $50 donation from Zane.e, who says, Banjo-Kazooie, had to stop what I was doing and swap to watching this instead. Good times. Y'all, speaking of stopping and swapping, Leave the Shepherds stopped going up and the lead swapped to Save the Shepherds. Like, levers, we gotta get up there, and tires, guys, I don't know what happens if we tie a donation incentive at GDQ, but I really want to find out. We have a $25 donation from Hebbings, who says, super hyped for Banjo-Kazooie. Put my money towards the Peggle Deluxe All Pegs incentive. While everybody is donating to tie up that donation bid war, just remember that every single donation that you put forward enters you for your total enters into getting the grand prize, which this year we have a few grand prizes. A total of $250 over the course of the event, however, gets you a chance at the Heroic Replicas Goat Simulator Trophy and Replica Bundle. I don't know if y'all saw that Megaton hammer in any of the donation, any of the prize segments. That thing is massive, and I want it. You're gonna be fighting me for that one, but I expect you all to fight hard. We have a $25 donation from Banjo Freak 64, who says, so happy to be attending GDQ in person this year. Best of luck on the run, Duck. We have a $10 donation from JT Gamble, who says, I don't know how you speed run a bluegrass band, but I'm excited to find out. We have a $25 donation from Public Enemy, who says, Jinjo! That's good. We have a $25 donation from Who Grooves On, who says, a Banjo-Kazooie run? You know I have to donate while one of my favorite games ever is on. Can't wait to hear the bear and bird yuh and bree again. Good luck on the run, Duck. We have a $50 donation from Honor System, who says, as a medical researcher and gamer, GDQ gets me hype. We got it a little bit. This one is for all the Doctors Without Borders in the field. We have a $20 donation from Combat Port 9, who says, have to donate for the game that made me love platformers. We have a $50 donation from The Sound Defense, who says, good luck, Duck, with the Banjo-Kazooie run. I wish I could see it in person, but I know that I'll be singing the Mr. Vile song as I watch. Wah-hey! If nobody's seen the Mr. Vile song, it's good. We have a $25 donation from Scott Runs, who says, Banjo-Kazooie at this hour? Game's done quick 2023? Well, it's more likely than you think, Scott Runs, because it's about that time. Let's all grab our yellow shorts, blue backpack, and best buddy, because it's time for Banjo-Kazooie 100% No FFM by Duck. It's all you, Duck.
All right.